Hey guys, Jose here from Transformative Stories Podcast. This is episode 1 of my story. So I'm going to take you guys back to 2015. And just a little bit of a backstory is I spent some time living in the favelas of Brazil along with my wife. And it was a part of a master's program through a university in Southern California. So on this particular day, I think my now wife was over in the United States visiting family, and I was by myself in Brazil. And I got invited to do some midnight evangelism with a local church. And by midnight evangelism is basically, it's members from the church. We went out to a particular impoverished area. It wasn't in the favelas, but it was just kind of like out in the streets. We went out on these 2 big buses because there's a lot of people. Went out to this area to distribute Bibles and pray for people and give food and clothing and other necessities. And I remember when we went out, we kind of split up into different groups. And while I was over there, we're interacting with different people and having some good conversations. Got to hear some some stories from some of the people that were there, and we got the opportunity to bless them with some food, and then also got to pray for them. Not too much activity. It was just conversations here and there, and I remember I was making my way back over to the bus, and I saw this commotion going on. There was just a large crowd of people. A lot of the members from the church were gathering around, and me, out of curiosity, was, oh, what's going on over there? So I walked over, and I remember seeing a guy just kind of pacing back and forth. And there was a pastor that was there. I was trying to talk to him, and I just remember this guy saying, "Nobody ever prays for me. Nobody ever prays for me." And this is all in Portuguese. So the pastor's like, "Well, all right, fine, then let me pray for you. We'll pray for you right now." And so I remember that the pastor laid his hand on this guy, and as soon as he said, "In Jesus' name," this guy fell over to the ground, face first, and he starts rolling on the ground. And I remember this guy's arm, his hand smacking my leg, so I kind of jumped back, and I'd never seen anything like this before, where kind of like in the movies when you see somebody's not levitating, but his back was arching like this, and his hands were twisting just making all these weird movements. And the part that tripped me out the most was when his voice changed. So this guy's voice went from here to coming from his abdomen. It was the deepest most evil, most dark voice I've ever heard. So that for me, I felt like my heart was coming out of my chest, I remember as soon as this guy's hand smacked my leg, I jumped back and just kind of stretched my arm out, because I knew what was going on. Even though I'd never experienced this firsthand, I knew exactly what was going on. I extended my hand and I just immediately started praying for him. And this guy, again, the whole time he's arching his back, his hands are twisting, he's talking. A few things stood out to me in this particular moment. Is I remember this guy, he called out somebody in the crowd, somebody that was standing next to me, and I think he said to the pastor, he said, no, it wasn't to the pastor, he just called something out to the person that was standing next to me. He said, "Who are you? You are nothing." And this person started saying really personal things, or calling out very personal things about the person that was standing next to me. Now, if those personal things were true or not true, I can't confirm that. But the fact that this guy was calling personal things out, let's say they were true, that's pretty scary. For this person that knows nothing of you to all of a sudden start calling out your junk. All right, so I remember the pastor kneeling down and putting his hand on this guy's head. And this guy, he was just making eye contact with, the guy on the ground was making eye contact with the pastor. and the guy on the ground, he was making threats towards the pastor, and he was saying in Portuguese, basically, vou te matar, which means I'm gonna kill you in Portuguese. And I remember the pastor just not showing any fear and putting his hand on this guy's head and said, in Jesus' name, I cast you out. And immediately, it was almost like the guy snapped out of it. So this guy went from, body contorting, voice change, to what the heck just happened, right? So pastor puts his hand on his head, he rebukes the demon, because obviously this guy was demon possessed. This was not like some kind of psychological disorder, No, it was demon possession for sure. Put his hand on this guy's head, casted out the demon. The dude is like, what the heck just happened? So the pastor helps this guy up to his feet and gives him a hug. And this guy's, I see him kind of looking like side to side, and he's like, what just happened? Almost like waking up after a really bad dream. And the takeaway that I take away from this particular moment, how this guy got in this condition in the first place, all that stuff, I have no idea. I've never met the guy, right? But it really put demon possession in perspective for me, because it's something that I heard about, something when I read the Bible, I had read about before. I'd never experienced it firsthand, right? So seeing this was like a huge eye-opener for me. And it made me think of like, what makes me believe that this is not ever going to happen again, right? That I'm not going to see this again. That I'm going to have the opportunity one day to be able to cast out a demon out of a person, right? But it's also another takeaway too, is just seeing the power of God in that moment, right? That guy, the pastor who prayed over this guy, could not have done that out of his own strength. I truly believe that God was working through this pastor in that particular moment, and then also hearing the prayers of all the other people that were interceding for this guy. And the power of God won every time. The light would overpower the darkness anytime, and that's what happened on this day. I thank you guys for tuning in. I hope that this story really opened your eyes. It challenged you in some way. I would love to hear your thoughts. Please comment below, and thank you for tuning in for today's episode. Have a great day.